Everyone. Reviving people to make them fight evil is becoming kind of cliché, if not already. Some of those stories are not deprived of creativity, like this one. So today, I'll tell you about a game where I'll be brought back from the dead to hunt down evil. For I'm Cringelord, and this video is about Blood West. Blood West is advertised as stealth FPS, where you can decide if you go with a bang, facing hordes of monsters, or try to be like a shadow. But things may not seem so simple. There can be any complexity when we talk about shooter. Same here. Things are pretty basic, but there's an idea behind Blood West gameplay, which is to try and merge Dishonored and Dark Souls. Tutorial comes first. You learn how to sneak, manage items, and fight. Thankfully, it's quick and easy. Get out of the cave and the whole world lies before you. Your exploration begins here. The game imitates an open world. It's not always intuitively clear where to go, but to help you with that issue, NPCs can always sell you a map. Different location, different map. For your convenience, there are even quest markers. Various enemies await you here and there. What's more important, they usually protect nice goodies, drop useful items or things for sale. And of course, you will have to fight them, or be quick and snatch it. If you choose the first one, then you have three options. Stealth kill, fight them head on, or shoot them. To do that, you have not big variety of melee weapons, which include knives, tomahawks, sabers, and good variety of ranged weapons. Revolvers, shotguns, bows, crossbow, rifles, and high caliber rifles. As usual, different guns use different ammo. Getting back to fighting enemies straight on or with a ranged weapon. Those are probably the most dangerous options. Monsters are pretty strong. Healing potions come in limited quantity. No natural regeneration without trinkets. That goes for a very long time, until you will be able to get perks and necessary equipment. There are perks, but not huge skill tree. Some useful, some not. Some needed for certain builds. You obtain points only by leveling up. No matter how hard you try, you won't get all in one playthrough. Their bosses, they're quite simple, except the one in DLC. Right, this DLC. It adds new weapons, enemies, and gets you back to a certain redesigned map. Everything else is pretty much same. An undead cowboy in dark fantasy Wild West? Hell yeah, that sounds promising. So, you died in the land plagued by evil and sins. A native found your body. As a mercy, he prepared burial ceremony to guide you into the spirit world. But something went wrong. You were awakened by a known entity that required your service to cleanse this land. So, now it's your time to shine. You have very few things behind your back, and a grand cause in front of you. The story will lead you through the atrocities humanity committed, their manifestation and ancient evil. Luckily, you're not the only living soul. Humankind haven't extinct yet. You may lend them a hand to make their life a bit better. That's when side quests come into play. They come in a small patch. Some are non-linear, which is rather commendable for a game of such caliber. As I mentioned, this DLC, that comes with a separate story and side quests. That's when things get weird. Now the game becomes about voodoo and that kind of stuff. Not Wild West anymore. The story tells about a man who has to pay a debt to God of Death and cleanse ancient evil. Not bad though, but not what you may expect it to be, considering the title given to the game. Overall, there is nothing philosophical or deep, just a story for entertainment, and that is okay. Dark fantasy and western is a great combo, which I'm personally into. But somehow that setting goes astray the further you progress. Things start pretty cool with the way the world is designed. The first location is a mesa or a desert. Things are really western here. Canyon, town, fortress, saloon, you can find all the attributes of the genre. Then you get to the second map, and suddenly things turn into typical occult or apocalyptic setup. And stay the same for the end of the game. DLC follows this tricky road. The second map is a swamp. The third is mountains. DLC uses assets of the swamp, except that locations are pretty decently designed. The maps have immersive atmosphere no matter which part of the story you play. Monsters look dangerous and scary. They have different behavior, different weaknesses and lore. All of that spices things up. The cutscenes use comic style. It hits the spot quite well, at least for me. The last thing, but no less important, is that the game is fully professionally voiced. It is time for darker things now. I'll start with the most serious one, and that is battle system design. Well, devs classify Blood West as a stealth FPS, but I would actually call it a stealth grind kind of game, or at least a stealth action. Let me explain why. So, the idea lies in killing enemies in stealth mode, because if you'll fight them in the open, it leads to HP loss. Health potions are very limited, and you don't find them often. Health doesn't regenerate without certain trinkets. But even if you will get one, then you will have to wait for several minutes of real time. Easiest option is to use bad. Some enemies will respawn and you'll have to run back and forth. Overall, that makes melee builds and range builds not exactly workable for a very long time, until you'll get perks, weapons and trinkets. You will hit late game while getting everything, so you'll be stuck with the stealth gameplay for a very long time. The next thing is balance. That's what can cause you quit straight after chapter 1. Once you get to the swamp, stats of the mobs will be increased. Like, if you have the fanciest knife from the native guy, you'll be able to insta-kill almost everything except Wendigo. When you will get to the chapter 2, its damage is already not enough, which will get you into open fight, which leads to HP loss. I can add here weapon balance too. Everything is pretty much same for melee weapons, but same can be said about ranged ones. The best ones are shotguns, great damage and you don't need anything extra. Others are either useless or require lots of perks and trinkets to be usable. Even fancy ammo doesn't help. The one I already mentioned is that the game doesn't follow its title. Yeah, the first map suits it well, but after it's not a western anymore. That way a game loses its kind of feature, not even mentioning DLC with all the African-Mexican stuff. There are bugs, like Cactus Girl Quest. Devs know about it and it still haven't fixed. There were script issues, but it seems that they were fixed, at least partially. Like when you get to the chapter 3 in a new game plus. If you have Spirit Bell in your inventory, the quest is completed, but you can progress. Some scripts will trigger if you will actually go and get another one. Blood West turned out to be a rather controversial game. It is presented as one thing, but reality proves it to be a different thing. Well, the way game is advertised is kind of misleading. When I looked at the screenshots, my first impression was, whoa, looks like a promising FPS. But in reality I was stuck with almost stealth only, using shotgun to kill big enemies when stealth was not enough. But even if I tried otherwise, I would stumble across problem of health replenishing and ammo doesn't come in exactly big quantities, especially for more exotic weapons like bow or crossbow. The stat multiplication of enemies is problematic since combat turns into real grind. That is especially noticeable at chapter 2. I would recommend getting Tomahawk from the girl or getting it in the fortress, but don't throw it. Accuracy of those is awful. That way game becomes playable. The more you progress, the more you will notice that the good part of enemies use the very same models for imitating different ones, in all chapters. The setting of the game is a mess, DLC is even more of a mess. But despite good amount of core problems, Blood West has its charm. I was kind of tired of it after chapter 1, and when chapter 2 hit me with all the issues I almost dropped it, but decided to give it another chance, and take small sessions to play it. Then I completed it, and even finished DLC. Devs advertised game as 20 to 35 hours of gameplay. I fully cleared it and explored it in 15 to 17 hours. Well, if you're like me who got this one in EJS for free, then there's really nothing to complain. But the base price of the game is $25, DLC is 10. This is actually a lot, for both game and DLC. The amount of content you get for what you pay is very little, not even mentioning the quality of the base game. You can get both for 10 during sale, which is more or less okayish, but you need to consider all the issues game has, and your tolerance to them. Soon devs plan to publish another DLC, and I noticed that they actively patch the game. But I saw the trailer. Same assets, same maps, same enemies. Yes, they will add a bit of new gameplay. But that seems like it. Good old Todd Howard strategy. Sell the same game again and again. I can't exactly recommend you to play this one. Honestly, not much to get out of it, but if you got this one for free, then why not? I thank you for watching, and I would like to know, did you play this game? What do you think about it? Do you consider it a good game? Let me know in the comment section below. I fare you well, and I'll see you in the next video.